Hi folks, Viswesh here again, continuing our Lightboard series. Our topic for today is securing private apps. In how many different ways is your enterprise touching AI, and which of these do you need to secure? We've talked about a few of these in past few conversations. My colleagues Vairavan, Sheldon, they talked about how Aurascape can help you secure users accessing public AI tools. Vairavan also talked about third-party productivity apps, case in point, how to protect your data, your sensitive overshared data when it is indexed by Microsoft Copilot. I also talked to you about the threat in the AI landscape exposed through the use of agents, especially the ones using the MCP protocol. But today we are on a brand new topic, namely how to secure your private or custom apps. So what are these? These are apps that your enterprise creates for use by your own employees, by your contractors, by your customers, other stakeholders. An example of this would be something like, say, a customer support tool that talks to your ticketing database in the backend, your order history in the backend, your knowledge base in the backend. And for these, they use LLMs as assistants to take in natural language queries and respond to them. So it is these applications that we're going to talk about today. And the specific concerns that you might have when you build such apps are listed here on this side, starting with input layer protections. So these consist of prompt injections, where a prompt could make the LLM misbehave. These could be examples of making the LLM forget its system prompts. Someone might be trying to jailbreak the LLM and so on. So how do you protect and prevent that? You also need to provide some guardrails around specific topics so that people don't ask irrelevant questions and start using you like a generic chatbot. So you may want to focus all questions on specific topics, such as the products you support in the case of a customer support portal. You may also want to restrict the types of keywords people use. An example could be, you don't want them asking questions about your competition and comparing you to your competition, etc. So those types of questions you want to avoid. The next set of guardrails is around context. So as we know, LLMs really like to use more context when they answer these questions. And the type of context and the technologies to provide these contexts have evolved over time. Of course, a few years ago, RAG pipelines were popular, and they still are. In that case, people would check up a vector database, pull in other documents based on how relevant they were to the query being asked, and then use that as context to answer the question. But there you have to be careful to make sure that this context is something that's legitimate, relevant, allowed in this particular scenario, and so on. So you need those guardrails. In terms of what the LLM then responds back in terms of the output, you need a set of protections there as well. You definitely don't want your LLM to use toxic language, hate speech, so on. So you need guardrails around that. As with any other security layer, you need data loss prevention so that you don't have personal identifiable information, PHI, PCI, and secrets being put out by your LLMs. Definitely you want guardrails around that. We talked about securing MCP, where we said that the tools that these LLMs might call also need some guardrails around the tool usage, making sure that data being fed into a particular tool is okay to send to that tool. You want to make sure that tool annotations, which are by nature supposed to be untrusted, are properly vetted out before they are being interpreted by your LLMs. And then finally, across all of these, as users are using these private apps, you have to monitor all these conversations at runtime so that they serve as good forensic evidence for any kind of troubleshooting or follow-up that's required later on in time. And then last but not the least, some kind of automated red teaming so that you can make sure your LLMs are bulletproof in terms of how they would respond to a wide assortment of queries that they are posed with. So that is the list of things that you would have to think about and make sure that your solution addresses when you're building your custom or private apps. And the great news is We do have a solution at Aurascape that addresses these concerns. It's extremely easy to deploy. The good news is that it's based on the exact same proxy architecture and technology that was used in protection for public AI tools, the same award-winning product for securing users' access to Gen AI. It has some new classifiers that have been added specifically for the purpose of private apps, such as the prompt injection identifier, the topic guardrails, the toxicity layer, and so on. So really, you get the benefit of all the classification from the public AI tools security solution, further enhanced by additional classifiers. And in terms of how you would deploy it, I have a list of instructions for how you would go about deploying it. You have a development team that's building an app. The IT person would take the app name, generate a set of credentials in our platform, create the types of system prompts that IT might want to create, specify some access policies that allow these apps to talk to certain LLM providers. We can even manage these LLM keys for you in the Aurascape platform so that we can overwrite any key that is currently provided through the app itself. Finally, a set of protection policies to protect the input and output layers. And finally, you would share those credentials to the app team. They would use it in their app in the form that is most applicable, whether it's in the form of environment variables the app uses or not, and so on. And off they are to the races. They would simply connect to via explicit proxy to our private app security solution, and you get all the benefits of all of these security guardrails. Thank you.